Tough one in the Dome on Sunday. Saints struggle offensively, give up a late touchdown, and some turnovers, and it got out of hand. Saints fall to 1-1 on the season. Sharief Ishaq was there, joins us now. Sharief, how are you, sir?
Well, how are you guys?
Doing well.
Doing
Saints not so great on Sunday. Your thoughts on the offensive performance?
Well, outside of the first drive, it stunk. It
Yep.
was not great. I mean, you watch it just like I did. It was out of sync once again, just like the Falcons game outside of the fourth quarter. And the Falcons game, it's been bad. I mean, it truly has been. They're out of sync 7 out of the 8 quarters. And look, Jameis, I understand that he has the arm strength. He has the player in Chris Olave to go deep. He took 6 shots with Olave deep, and there are a couple of them I was okay with that he should have thrown, but he just missed the throws. The route was there, the throw wasn't there. And if he connects on those, it's a different ball game. He finally connected on one late in the game, and then Olave hits the turf and fumbles. That's just the type of day it was. But for Jameis in general, man, I just think on a lot of the interceptions and some of the other passes, he forced it. He really was forcing it. I think there were predetermined reads. He should have checked down to whether it was the running back or whether if it's Michael Thomas who was open in the middle of the field or even Jarvis Landry. I think he just reverted back to his old ways, and that's unfortunate. That's not the type of Jameis Winston that we saw last year in the 7 games he played. And I think that they got away from the run, too. And there's a few series they were running the ball well, the first drive, and then the drive where Mark Ingram fumbled the ball. I think they got to go back to that. If you could run against their defense, you can run against anyone. They just have to find a way to keep it consistent and, use the run game to set up the pass game, but it has to be a smarter passing game.
Are you concerned about the offensive line?
Not at all. I thought the offensive line, even Dennis Allen said it, outside of 2 sacks, they played fairly well. So that tells you of the, 6 sacks, 4 of them are pretty much on Jameis. 2 of them are on the offensive line. They played much better than they did in week 1. I'll say that for sure. But, most of it was on Jameis Winston. The whole game was on Jameis Winston. It was just probably the worst game he's probably had in a very long time, whether it's in pressures, sacks, hits, or interceptions. It couldn't have gone any worse. On top of that, now he's, playing with the back issue.
Looking at Jameis this season, he looks a lot different than he did last year. Obviously, they were running the ball a lot more, and obviously you hear about all the injury issues, especially with the back. If you're the Saints, would you entertain the idea of putting Andy Dalton in there until Jameis gets fully healthy?
No, because I think it's something that's not going to get better unless you give him a lot of rest. And I'll tell you, from watching a lot of Andy Dalton this training camp, it's a fall off. It's a tremendous fall off. I know a lot of people are like, well, give Andy a shot. You're going to be saying the same thing after one game with Andy Dalton. Let's go back to Jameis Winston. He's very limited in terms of mobility. I just don't think he has the arm strength that, Jameis has. So if it goes bad, let's say in Carolina and in Minnesota, when they come back from the London trip, you probably entertain it. But you got to give Jameis at least a couple more chances to get it right, even though it's as bad as that was. You were going against one of the best defenses in the NFL. However, he could have avoided a lot of the issues in that game had he just not, just became very one-dimensional, started looking at one receiver.
Sharief Ishaq, WDSU, is our guest, talking Saints every single Tuesday at 2:30. The defense, hard to find too much fault with those guys. Your thoughts, big picture, on how they played on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, they held Tom Brady to 13 points. If I told you that they were going to hold Tom Brady to fewer yards and points than Marcus Mariota, you probably would have said the Saints would have won easily. I mean, to hold him to that offense to 13 points, you should have won. The defense did everything possible. They went into the fourth quarter with a tied game. I mean, they only had 1 sack, and it was essentially a coverage sack. That's where my issue is with the defense right now. Through 2 games, you only have 1 coverage sack and not many pressures, and that's concerning to me. And I understand the whole Tom Brady has 23 years of tape. You can't really blitz him because then he gets rid of the ball quicker than any quarterback in NFL history. But it was just surprising to me in the previous regular season games against him, they were able to get pressure with just 4. It was mind-boggling that they were not able to get to him at all and effective whatsoever. And Luckily Tom just missed on a lot of the throws, and the secondary was playing a pretty good defense for the most part. They had some pretty good coverage even with the time given, but they did everything they could to help the offense win the game, but the offense failed the defense.
Two-part question for you here. What do you think of the whole Mike Evans situation? And the second part of that, what do you think would happen if Mike Evans, let's say, showed up to Mardi Gras in the city of New Orleans next year?
Well, the Mike Evans thing, since it's his second offense, I think it should have been at least 3 games. And that's not because I'm from here and I cover the Saints. That's a foolish thing to do. You're blindsiding somebody. You could hurt them. Imagine if it had been the tables turn and Michael Thomas does that to Carlton Davis. The league would have a fit. Tom Brady would probably get Thomas suspended for 3 games. It's just even if you read the entire transcript on why he was suspended, it says there you could have injured the player pretty much. And him doing that for the second time, that should have been 3 games. That's uncalled for. I mean, look, the stuff with Fournette and Lattimore, the jawing and the pushing, dude, that's fine. That happens. That happens in football all the time. I'm glad neither were suspended. You shouldn't get suspended for that. As for being here at Mardi Gras, I think he'd have an open invitation. They'd love to have him here. They'd give him drinks, pelt him with beads. I think they would love to have him here.
I mean, how much of that was because they were trash talking Brady, and how much of that is because he's just in a bad mood because he can't get open against the Saints?
Combination of both. I think he was using the Tom Brady thing as an excuse. I'm defending my quarterback. It's Tom Brady. What you want me to do? Come on. You were going toward the sideline, and you ran back off the sideline as soon as you realized who was involved. Now, maybe if it was Bradley Roby, he probably wouldn't have done it. They probably would have separated with hand. Nobody would have gotten flagged. But as soon as he saw his Marshawn Lattimore and Bruce Arians said something, who's also an instigator in this whole thing, and probably should be banned from the sideline, saying that they didn't have a suite. They definitely had a suite for the entire Buccaneers organization. So that's another problem on their hand. But, yeah, it's mostly to do because it was 23. And he was frustrated that 23 has locked him up his entire career. So it gave him an excuse to run back out there.
All right, Saints headed up to Carolina for a noon kick against the Panthers. Look, like you said, 7 not-so-great quarters and 1 good one. How do they get it on track this weekend against what's not a very good team?
Well, it starts with getting Alvin Kamara back. It looks like he's getting a little bit better. He might have been kind of close to playing Sunday against the Bucs, but first injury report tomorrow is going to be interesting to see if he's even limited. If he's limited to start the week, that's going to be a good way to get the offense going. But Jameis has to just stop overthinking. It feels like he's reverting back to his old ways while at the same time thinking, I can't make mistakes. Go back to take what they give you. And you have Michael Thomas, you have Jarvis Landry, you have very good weapons. Stop forcing it down the field when you don't need to, especially unless it's open. Get it to your main guys. You have a healthy Thomas finally back on your team after 2 years. Use him. He knows how to get open. That's how it starts. Use what you have and take what they give you. That's exactly how you get this offense back into rhythm and you get some confidence. As simple as that. The defense, just get to Baker. You blitz Baker, it's not like blitzing Tom Brady. You're going to frazzle him. He's going to throw some bad passes. He came into the NFL, leading the NFL with most interceptions in the previous 5 seasons for a reason. You've got to get to Baker Mayfield.
For this offense, and you think Jameis Winston looking forward, if you had to put a nail on it, what version of Jameis Winston do you think is going to end this season with? Kind of the guy we saw last year that kind of took care of the football, or kind of the guy we saw in this Bucs game last Sunday?
I think we're going to see a combination of what we saw last year and half of what we saw Sunday. So I just think whenever we came into this season, I said, hey, if Jameis Winston can throw 27, 28 touchdowns and 13, 14, 15 interceptions, what about 3,500 yards? They'll be fine. That's exactly what they need. I think that, I believe he's just still trying to get into rhythm and into sync with some of these players on offense. While at the same time, he's trying to force it. He's trying to do too much because he knows he has all these pieces and he wants to show everyone he can throw it to all the guys and throw it down the field. I think he just needs to take a deep breath and relax and just take what's given to him. And then it's going to look just like it did last year with a little extra. That's all he needs to do. And simple as that. Don't overthink it.
Thanks, Sharief. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.